So a really tragic story came out of Palestine and the occupied West Bank about an 18-month-old baby being tortured in front of his father for close to 10 hours to try to get a confession out of the father. The baby was finally released to the family's custody. The father is still in an Israeli detention center. And the baby was burnt with cigar burns and was also had a nail punctured into his skin. And the photos that you see of him, he's got holes on either side of his little legs. And when I read this story, that was originally posted, I think, by Al Jazeera, but it was confirmed by several individuals as well that had been a witness to it. I was obviously sad, but not shocked at this point about all the multitude of stories that have come out about the issues in Gaza and the Palestine and what they're doing to the people in the West Bank. Just alone, that because the IDF has confirmed that they have killed over 70,000 people in Gaza since 2023. Of that number, over 20,000 being children, and 87% of being civilian casualties. That is a war crime. What they've done to this little baby, that's a war crime. Hitting hospitals, hitting schools, infrastructure, those are war crimes. Targeting civilians, snipering children and young people and women, non-combatives, is a war crime. It doesn't matter whether there is, and I heard this argument recently from a family member saying that there was Hamas hiding underneath the hospital. That doesn't give you the right to bomb that hospital, because now you're saying that you're no better than the terrorist underneath that hospital. That's a war crime. You have to justify the number of casualties of civilians as far larger numbers of taking the lives of combatants. We have laws during wars because the lives of innocent people who are not combatants need to be respected. So whether or not you think that Israel has the right to defend itself from its neighbors does not give them the right to commit war crimes. Because then you take yourself out of victimhood and you put yourself as the oppressor instead. I wanted people to understand this on the most basic level of work on a farm like I do, and you see a rooster who is friendly, who's nice, who's submissive. He's getting picked on by the bigger roosters, the stronger roosters, the more tough roosters. And when that rooster gets picked on and those big roosters go away, they get processed or they get sold or whatever, and he's left to himself, and there's other roosters around him that are weaker than him, he picks on those other roosters because he can, because it makes him feel strong and control and powerful. You have a small group of Israeli people with ancestors who went through the Holocaust, which is absolutely terrible what happened to the Jewish people during the Holocaust. And a small group of them decided to make a country, Israel, to defend themselves, to get out of Europe where there was anti-Semitism was rife all over, to get out of that country. And then from like day one started to bully and oppress their Arab neighbors, their Palestinian neighbors. Instead of learning to live with them in harmony, sharing a land that was significant to all of those people, including the Jewish people, but to all those people. Instead of learning to live with them, they oppressed them because they needed to take power back for themselves. It is so common when you have a human being or a group of people who have been oppressed at some point, have had something terrible happen to them, they turn around and do it to somebody else. People that have been sexually abused by family members, by people that are supposed to protect them. Down the road, some of them turn around and they do the same thing to somebody else because it makes them feel powerful. It makes them feel in control. So don't be surprised about what the government of Israel is doing. And the high number of Israeli people, I think it's like in the 90 percentile of Israeli people that are okay with what's going on in Iran right now. What's okay with what's going on in Gaza right now? Because they like to be in control. They want power. Everybody else around them is trying to kill them. Everybody is trying to attack them. And they want to be perpetual victims. We need to not be okay with this anymore. We need to get on our American government and stop supporting. Over 90% of our politicians are okay with this. They take money from AIPAC. They take money from Israeli lobbyists. So that's why you see the Iranian war, you saw little to no opposition on both sides of our government because they're all bought and paid for by Israel. And they did not stop this illegal, unjustified, unwanted war that we're in right now. And now Israel is taking the opportunity to ramp up its efforts to get more land from Lebanon, to continue to oppress the Palestinians in the West Bank and Gaza. It hasn't stopped bombing them. It hasn't stopped killing people. It hasn't stopped the torture. Just because President Trump slapped on there saying, oh, we've done a ceasefire, it's not over yet. Because our government is complicit with these people. We need to stop electing people that are okay with what Israel, the government, is doing right now. We need to stand up and say, no more politicians. Unless you tell me that you are going to call what's happening in Gaza a genocide, unless you're going to say the truth about it and you're going to stand firm on that, don't elect them. Because if they're okay with oppressing people across the ocean, far away from us, they're going to be okay with oppressing you someday. Someday, your kids, your 18-month-old baby or grandbaby, someday will be in the way of what they want. And they will oppress you if you do not stand up for international laws against war crimes and for humanity. It will happen to you because you're okay with it happening to somebody else.